But we now have a new variant. With most of the country already under extreme measures, it's clear that we need to do more together. That means the government is once again instructing you to stay at home.
You're joking. Not another one?
Oh, yes!
Mason Mount, my lord, Mason Mount. Oh, Lord, Mason Mount. Oh, my day. What a player.
Okay, so I have to admit to you, I had the game on my iPad, but I was watching the Premier League of darts.
No. To be fair, it wasn't the most entertaining game, I must be honest. It was just typical Tuchel, just professionally done. But what a result that is. 2-0 away.
Well, you say typical Tuchel. Do we look at the game before?
Yeah. Do you know what though? This is going to sound bizarre. Obviously, I don't like the fact that we lost 5-2, and that's an absolute disgrace. But I'm glad it happened against West Brom in that game and not against Porto, because I think
true.
A lot of Chelsea fans have been getting very complacent, and almost like the West Brom game, it was like, and I think even the players are a bit like, yeah, we'll breeze past West Brom, whatever.
Oh, definitely, you could tell that.
And it was so complacent. And I think if we'd won that game, that complacency could have gone into, oh, it's only Porto, we'll breeze past that. And the way Porto were playing last night, they were really, pressing really well. They were putting us under a lot of pressure, and that could have been
on the floor beautifully.
Yeah, that could have been the 5-2 in that game. So I'm so glad it actually happened against West Brom and not against Porto. Well, I wouldn't have liked it to happen at all, to be honest. But what I think, and I don't know what you think now about Tuchel, is that what I liked last night was that Porto, their pressing was so, on it. Like from the first second, they were literally pressed every single thing we did. But we didn't root to that different style of football. And that's what I'm liking about what Tuchel's doing. He's like, this is the style. We play out of it no matter how many times we mess up. And like last night, it's that tactical thing that sadly Lampard never had. And it's the fact that in that game last night, Lampard might have gone, yeah, we'll pass it out from the back. That's our way of playing. And then if we'd been pressed like that, there would be no tactical insight of keep going. It would have been just like,
yeah. I always felt like Lampard didn't really research his opponents, and I felt last night. I think it was so obvious how Porto were going to come out like a typical European side, like coming up against a bigger team, and they were just obviously very good at it. And I mean, if you like that style of football or not, I don't personally, because I can't stand the falling over and but it worked really well. Like it's easy to forget that they actually did play really good football, especially against Juventus. They were really good, but I think Juventus kind of allowed them to do their thing, which you can't do, and you kind of didn't. I don't mean this in a bad way, because this is nowhere near boring Chelsea, but you kind of made the game boring for Porto. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, and like this football, and I've seen a lot of people. I think this is the difficult thing, because I was in a bit of a similar boat, and I look back to, do you remember that podcast we did about Frank Lampard going? And
yeah, Frankie goes to unemployment.
But I don't know. I don't know whether you agree with me what I'm about to say. I think I said a lot of things in the emotion of the moment because of the whole Lampard aura around it. Because I felt like the club betrayed him, because it was a legend of the club. And I look back and I listened back to it a couple of days ago, and I think I was saying that a lot of an emotion, because looking back at what Tuchel's done, you look at Lampard and you go, as you said, there was no tactical insight, and the decision to get rid of him, I think.
I'm not being funny. I don't care what any football fan says. Every single football fan is fickle. Like, if DYCHE left today, we would do DYCHE goes to unemployment, and I would be, well, this is the worst day of my life. It's all downhill from here. Never get. But then what? We hired Michael Duff as manager. Michael Duff is the best manager we've ever had. No one gets closer than Michael Duff. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
footballers fans, I say football and footballers, football fans and footballers are so fickle. Like, you get over something that seems like the worst day of your life in minutes.
Yeah, and I think I was just over emotional, and I said things like, I think at the time, because I remember you said to me, you're not optimistic at all, because you're getting like, I know you had your reservations about Tuchel, and obviously he hasn't hit a real bump in the road where he had at PSG, where it's almost like, well, everything's against. Do you know what I mean? And
I feel good. I feel better for him because my problem was I never saw PSG play a style of football. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I feel like I don't know what the style of football is you're playing, but I feel like I could point it out differently to like how Ollie plays football, or not me personally, or how Pep plays. Do you know what I mean? Whereas at PSG, it was like, oh, I'm a footballer, hey, football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. You
feel more confident for him.
Yeah, you do get over emotional at the point. I think, okay, I'm being honest here. Looking back, yes, I would have liked to have seen Lampard have maybe a bit more time. I would still. I don't know whether I want to have Lampard more time, or it's almost the what could have happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, we'll never know if Lampard could have turned these players into world beaters and winners of Premier League. It's something that we'll never know. And in the back of your mind, you sort of know the answer was probably no, but there's always that he could have if he'd been given, a couple of years, or we could just do what Man United are doing with Solskjaer and just, keep persisting. Because I think that's the thing with Man United. This is a huge summer for Manchester United, because if Solskjaer doesn't win the Europa League, and they're in the top four, I think now. If Solskjaer doesn't win the Europa League, I don't know what you think, but do they keep him in, or do they go for an Allegri or something like that?
The thing was, the chances are they'll finish second this season, but they just don't feel like they're finishing second. I feel like I see them drop points every week. Yet we go, well, United, they're going to be runners up. But how? I don't get it. I don't know how you feel about this, but to me, they are the most boring team to watch in the Premier League. They could win 7-0, and I think I'd rather be playing bloody fake poker on my iPad.
It's almost that Pep Guardiola thing we said like last year. Like,
but they're not. But the thing was, at least they were trying to overplay it. Whereas Man United, that just nothing. I don't even remember them scoring goals. Like they scored 2 goals the other night. Could I tell you anything about them? Absolutely not.
I think there's not really an identity to United, is there? And I feel like, there's talks about Harry Kane going there, but I think Harry Kane, would he change a lot about Man United? If you put Harry Kane in a Man City or Real Madrid or a PSG, I think that team wins the league, the Champions League, the whole lot. But I think if Kane goes to United, I still don't see them getting over Manchester City.
Did you see Bruno Fernandes's interview the other day?
No.
He said Man United aren't depth-wise in a place to win trophies. I was like, how much money have you spent on players? Oh, you cost 50 million alone, or 60 million, whatever it was. That you can't tell me a team that spent 70 million, 80 million, 90 million, another 50 million. You can't tell me they're not ready to win the league. Yes, your excuse might be not winning the league. City have been unbelievably good, but equally, like United, it's what I say to you. The record books will always say they finished second, but if someone remembers that season, all I remember is, Christ, they were poor.
Do you know? I think if I was in charge of Manchester United, and we said this a couple of podcasts ago, I think Solskjaer has put Manchester United as a club in a better place than they were when he took over. I still believe that. I don't think he's the man. Personally, I don't think Solskjaer is the man that's going to take them on to be the Man United powerhouse they once were, league titles, everything. I don't think he's the man to do that, but I think he's put them in a position for a more qualified man, for a guy who knows what he's going to come and do with this team. You could have said a Pochettino, maybe an Allegri. I think he's put them in a much
Well,
better
there was one
state.
point we were adamant that Pochettino would go to United, weren't we?
I still can't. But I think PSG looking at it, I think PSG is a good fit for him. But I can't believe he didn't go to United. But I think, well, it's down to the owners, isn't it? I don't think the owners want to splash out on. I think they're worried about if the big time manager comes in, he's going to go, I want 200 million to spend. And it sounds silly, but I think those owners have outlaid so much money over the years, like for Mourinho, Van
Oh, and it's
Gaal.
not black and white. You see every year the finances are definitely not like transparent, are they?
And they've outlaid so much money. I think in the last few years they've gone, because Solskjaer's not a demanding character. Well, he doesn't come across as a demanding character. He doesn't come across as the guy that's going to them and going, I need 100 million. I need 120 million. It's almost like when Mourinho's at the club, he's going, I want 200 million. And they go, yeah, have 200 million. With Man United, they're not waiting for Solskjaer to come. They're going to Solskjaer and going, you have 70 million to spend this summer. Spend it wisely.
Oh, I think they're going to him and going, oh look, Paul wants to come back. Bring old Paul Pogba. Oh, Paul, hello mate, how you doing? And then Donny van der Beek, like Real Madrid don't want him anymore. Oh, he's a superstar. Oh, money, Donny. And I think they just see someone like who's having a bit of a good time, and then they're just like, well, we're going to buy him. And you can't tell me that, like, City obviously have spent so much money the last 10 years, but you can't tell me it's not smart money. They don't pick out a star player. They buy a player and make them the star.
Well, that's the thing, Man City. When you think about it, because there's all this talks over this. I think Pep Guardiola is quietly, putting out some mind games, because I think he is going to smash that transfer record and bring in a Haaland or a Kane. I do think one of them is going to go there. But
well, you see bloody Haaland. If he doesn't end up going to City, he is playing the best long game ever by going like wearing that Man City mask on the plane as a joke, going up to the Etihad with a blue backpack, and going out to the Etihad to do training and go, God, it's bloody beautiful. He is playing them like a bloody idiot.
Well, he's a Man City fan, isn't he? So
yeah, exactly.
But it's like
he's also a Leeds fan, but we'll let him off.
Yeah, he can.
He can invite him. So.
But Guardiola, like as you said, like there's all this talk. What was that? I mean, when did they actually really spend like a ridiculous and like I know Ruben Dias cost 60 million, but when have they actually gone out and spent the last time they spent a ridiculous sum of money for a player?
That's been funny. That Ruben Dias, it was more like 30 million, because it feels like the other 30 million was for John Stones, because he's obviously Diaz has improved Stones as well. And so I was surprised, because I remember making jokes going, oh, bloody Ake, 50 million. Then Ruben Dias. Who even is Ruben Dias? Well, he's only playing in a league that Otamendi's gone to now. And it turns out Ruben Dias was the signing of the season.
He's been brilliant. He has been brilliant. But that's what Man City did. They clever sign. They sign players that fit Guardiola's system. Whereas Man United, as you said, Man United just because I know that Bruno Fernandes has turned brilliant for them, but no one can tell me that's not. Oh, he's doing quite well. We'll bring him in. I mean, it's paid off for them because he's been absolutely brilliant. But that wasn't a planned signing. Like
we almost went to Tottenham, didn't it? They only went for him because it fell down between them and Bruno and Tottenham.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's almost. I don't understand it with Man City.
I don't know about you, but I think Bruno's been shit since the beginning of this calendar year. I think he just goes down. Oh, I got a free kick. Oh, I didn't get the free kick, so I'm going to go and complain to the referee. Oh, I got the free kick. Oh, I've scored from the free kick. Hooray! But then he gets the player of the month for scoring from a free kick.
He's been quite quiet, isn't he? He's been very quiet.
Oh, I find it hard watching Man United, I won't lie. It's just, they play like this. They think they're playing this like really cool European style football. Oh, we're so good at passing, but we can run with it. But they don't. They just get a touch on the floor, and then they're on the floor. Referee! And they get the free kick, and then they score from the free kick, and then Martin Tyler tells us that they're the best team in the world. And then I get confused because I think they're talking about Leeds. But I just can't. And then I get really annoyed because every time I watch them, and I think me, you, Tom, everyone we've spoken to has said this, that I think their best, or not best player, not like best technically, but their most important player this season has been McTominay.
Yeah,
he's hated by half the fans.
I don't understand. He has been brilliant. He has been absolutely brilliant.
I don't think he's anywhere near as good as someone like Paul Scholes, but he just seems like the Paul, not like how he plays, but just what he puts into his game. Like, I feel if there was like 80 odd thousand in that stadium and he was getting ready to, and I don't know, they were having a corner, he would get the fans going.
Yeah.
And I think he has taken over what they expected Maguire to do. And I'm surprised, I suppose he's a bit younger, but I'd assumed he was probably the next captain of United, McTominay. Because actually, a couple of years ago, I don't think anyone had any hopes for him at all playing for United. Everyone thought, oh, just another United Academy reject. But I think they're defensively unreal when he's in the team. And then they drop him the next game and Harry Maguire decides to get a unicycle and ride it up and down while, I don't know, Mason Mount and Tammy Abraham are attacking him. So yeah, I just can't work out. Yeah, and then they'll tell us how badly obviously I'm going to reference the Burnley game. They'll tell us the whole game how poor United have been, and then in the 86th minute they'll hit this volley that will deflect in. Well, you just know United are going to win these games. Do you? I don't. Sorry, this is so done. This has gone from bloody Chelsea doing well in the Champions League to me shitting on United.
But no, you say that United are the worst team in the league to watch. I'm sorry, there's only one team that goes to, and I thought it was Crystal Palace, but it's Newcastle, man.
Do you? I thought they played really well on the weekend.
Yeah, but they played against a Tottenham team, and Tottenham just do what they do.
Well, we got Newcastle next, so I'm not saying anything.
But I don't know what you feel about Newcastle. And it's that same old argument, but I feel like now I'd be more worried if I was a Newcastle fan now than in the last few years that Ashley's been in charge of the club. It seems, and I know that Paul Merson came out and said it. I know you've got to take a lot of what Paul Merson says with a pinch of salt because he can be quite exaggerated.
I'm surprised he can say Newcastle.
But
I love Paul Merson. I take that back. I love Paul Merson.
But they are becoming, and I know you get clubs that get into the league and they sit there for a bit and they become a solidified Premier League club. Your Crystal Palaces, Stokes back in the day, they become solidified Premier League clubs. They're just mid-table, but they are becoming a nothing club. And do you know what really shocked me is that you look at a player like I'm just going to throw it out here, DeAndre Yedlin, and he's still getting in the Newcastle team. And this is a player, I think if you put him in, I don't think even championship teams would pick him. This is what's really worrying about Newcastle. I looked at their team.
It gets worse because he spent a season on loan at Sunderland as well.
It's so true. I look at their Newcastle team and I go, I don't really see these players. I think if they were to get relegated, I can't see them getting back up. And do you know what really scares me about it? Is because if they go down, the last 2 years that they've gone down, they had Chris Hughton come in, and he a good manager. He's a steady championship manager, top level championship manager. Bottom tier Premier League. And then the second time they went down, they had Rafa, and they're very lucky that Rafa obviously had a love for the English game and stayed with them. And I think if they go down now, I think Bruce goes, and then who goes in and takes that?
Well, I think they take someone young, right? Someone up and coming. Do you know? I would love to see someone like Chris Wilder get. I just want to see Chris Wilder get another job. Do you know what I mean? But they're going to take someone in who's not as big as Rafa, obviously, and I think whoever this is going to need some time. And unfortunately, at Newcastle, you don't really get time. So I don't know. I don't know if anyone would even entertain the job.
Well, this is what I mean, and I can see it. And I know some Newcastle fans won't like me hearing to say this, but if they go down, I can seriously see, a Simon Grayson appointment. Not necessarily but like what happened to Sunderland when they went down. They went and got Simon Grayson. I can seriously see that happening because
it's the wrong choice. Simon Grayson's a great manager if you're a smallish team going for promotion in the Championship. But if you're a big team that you're demanding wins. You won't get it. You won't get it from someone like Grayson. But these are the people they'll probably end up having to go for.
And it's the players as well. Everyone at Newcastle at the moment just seems to be like, oh, we're just 11. Oh, these are 11. Oh, these 11 players. Oh, we'll put them in, and then we'll
Well, I think I said I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, that they tried to have a meeting without Steve Bruce, with the directors,
but they don't
all the
look like
players.
they like
It's
each other.
mental.
Like you were saying last year about Bournemouth players, they don't look like they like each other. I think the same.
But what did they do? They brought two of the big Bournemouth players in, and Jeff Hendrick. What were you doing? Okay, so we were struggling. We had no players, and we didn't have any room to buy anyone. So we had such small numbers, and we still let go of Jeff Hendrick, and they signed him.
I know.
He was not wanted by a team that needed players, and they still signed him.
It's just there's a lot of bad blood in there, and like you can even throw back to last season when they brought Danny Rose in on a loan. You know, someone with an attitude problem. That's not what Newcastle need. And I heard a few fans saying this, and I don't know whether you would agree with me on this, but I'll outlay it. Do you think that Mike Ashley has got a conspiracy to get Newcastle relegated? Because my perception of it, I think Ashley's a bit pissed off because of the way the Premier League denied that takeover, that big takeover. So he didn't get his money and he couldn't get rid of the club because of all these big checks. And rightfully so, I think that was denied. But I think he looks at the Championship, and I don't know what you think, but every single time I look on Sky Sports News at the moment, there's always seems to be Championship club takeover, League One club takeover, Championship club takeover. Derby have just been taken over, for example.
Excuse me.
Burnley.
There's only one Alan Pace.
But with the Championship, there's not as much of those regimented checks. So I think, is he looking at it and going, I'll keep Bruce in, maybe we'll get relegated, and then we're in the Championship, there's not as many checks. I can then sell the club and get out. And people might say, oh no, he's not doing it. I wouldn't put it past him to do that because he just wants to get rid of the club, and you can clearly see
this guy has no problem doing anything. This guy bought Rangers for £1.
This is
or
the
bought
guy,
shares in Rangers for £1.
This
Ridiculous.
is the guy who put BHS into administration and then went and bought a yacht. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just part of me does sit there and go, I think he's trying to do that because he just wants to get rid of the club, and obviously, and you could say he's madly pissed off at the fact that the Premier League denied that takeover, isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we spoke about it, and there's no way that should have gone on, that takeover. It shouldn't have even been entertained.
Well,
we spoke about it in one of the first episodes.
Well, I agree, but you can clearly see that he's still pissed off about it, isn't he?
I don't know what you thought was going to happen. I literally don't know why. I mean, no one wants to buy Newcastle. One, because it's an absolute heaving mess, like financially. And it was a bit like Bolton a couple of years ago. You were literally buying debt, weren't you? And I don't think anyone wants to have to deal with Mike Ashley because you don't know what is actually going to happen. And you know, we try not to talk badly of people on here, but he's a bellend. Like there's no getting around from it, and I think he knows that. I mean, you don't get rich by being nice, do you?
No.
Well, I don't anyway.
But am I really looking into it too much, or do you think is that in the back of his mind? He's trying to get them relegated just to get rid of them.
I wouldn't put it. In my opinion, it isn't. But it wouldn't surprise me if that was true. It wouldn't surprise me. Do you remember that whole thing with Wigan with the betting scandal about they're trying to get Wigan relegated so they win lots of money on a bet, and the is it Rick Parry, the EFL chairman? He was caught saying it on video that it was probably true, and I just feel that one of these scandals is going to come out. Oh, Richard Masters, the chief of the Premier League, chief executive, he's going to be caught out saying something about Mike Ashley, and we're just going to have a full-on scandal again. And it's a tough one because I actually feel sorry for Newcastle. Unfortunately, Newcastle fans, David is my witness. If you asked me 2 or 3 years ago who my least favourite team in the Premier League was, it was probably Newcastle because I found the fact that you thought you were a big club so annoying. But I take it back. Don't attack me. But I can imagine it is annoying because at one point, for some people, say you were young, 1996, 97, 98, you're going cup finals, you're going into Europe, you almost won the Premier League. Yeah, Kevin Keegan doing absolute crazy things with your team, and you're spending lots of money, but like not like you're up there with the big boys basically. Like you're one of the biggest teams in the world. You don't win anything really, and then you get relegated with bloody Alan Knobhead Shearer.
He should never have been put in that position in the first place, should
no, and they should have tried. They got rid of him so quickly. Like he's relegated, let him try and get him back up now. Like he probably would have walked that league. Didn't need to be any good manager. And then get relegated again. I mean, yeah, they come up again, but it wasn't plain sailing. Like they didn't walk the league. They only just won it. I only won it because we talked about it last week because Brighton bloody buggered it up on the last couple of days. And now, like they've been promised they'll spend all this money. They've spent some money, like more than quite a few clubs, on absolute rubbish. Like, yeah, maybe they need better coaching, but and then it annoys me. I don't know how you feel about this, but obviously I'm not Steve Bruce's biggest fan, but I don't see any difference from the Rafa Newcastle and the Steve Bruce Newcastle. And actually, at points, they've been better off under Bruce statistically. But I just find them equally as boring to watch. Okay, I get it. I'm a Burnley fan. It's fine. We've had really good games recently. What was I saying? Yeah, I don't see any different. Like, I don't know why they want Rafa to come back because they're just giving. Yeah, he's a passionate man. Everyone in England loves Rafa, but why?
I think the thing is that with Rafa, you know, he wasn't. I know they flirted with relegation in the times he was there, but they did stabilise as a Premier League club. And I know you could say he did a bit last year, Bruce, but I think when he lost in that quarter-final to Brentford, I think that was a time that you went, yeah, you've got to get rid of him. And they kept him on. And the ideal thing now, and I heard a Newcastle fan saying this on the radio, and he came and he said, if Ashley wants Newcastle to stay up, he sacks Steve Bruce now and brings in, well, it's funny you said Chris Wilder. He said he sacks Steve Bruce now, he brings in Wilder or Eddie Howe, and we stay up.
Not Eddie Howe. Sorry.
But you say that. I don't think Eddie Howe would be a bad appointment for a Newcastle.
He would get homesick.
Well, but this is my problem with, and I think Newcastle fans, I think for a few years, when they first went down the first time, I think Newcastle fans did have that attitude of like, we're a big club, we expect to be at the top. I don't think they do now. I think if we're being honest, you might have some Newcastle fans like that, but I don't think the majority of Newcastle, steady-headed Newcastle fans would sit there and go, we expect to be a Champions League side. We just want to go and support our team and just feel like, you know, we're enjoying,
I suppose.
Yeah, we just want to feel like we're enjoying it. And at the moment, it just seems like they're going there and watching absolute rubbish every week. And they get a few draws, they get a couple of wins. They don't expect to be like, when you hear Rio Ferdinand coming out and saying, you know, or what do you expect of the club and that kind of thing, go and buy the club yourself. You know, that's just playing with fire for these fans, because these fans, you know, I've never been up to Newcastle, but you hear the stories and you hear the documentaries and you hear the fans. That is their passion, their love. And it's been happening for years. This club has had the soul ripped out of it. The whole club is rotten to the absolute core. And that's down to Ashley, because he's not. And I know you have this argument going, yeah, but he is trying to sell the club. But, you know, while you're still.
His reputation stopping that.
But this is what I mean. And because no one wants to deal with him. So you almost, I think in a way, and I know he'll never want to do this, but what he's got to do now is just go, they're free to buy, someone come and take them. I'm just walking away from it, because he's got the money to be able to do that. Do you know? He
needs someone to do to him what he does to other people, like bully them into selling. Do you know what I mean?
And it's
but he's so stubborn, it wouldn't happen.
Because these players, you look at that. I looked at the Newcastle starting 11. I just went, I don't think you'd get into Watford, Brentford, you know, Barnsley. I don't see hardly any of these players getting in there. Like you buy a Ryan Fraser, Callum Wilson, yeah, okay, all right,
Yeah,
Simon.
Callum Wilson's good, yeah, but he needs the support around him, and Jeff Hendrick and I mean, as much as I think Almiron has got the potential, he's just not showing anything really, is he?
No,
I mean, it's a Maximan that's great, but he can't stay fit.
that's the thing. You look at the whole club, and it's just nothingness. It is just nothing. When you play Newcastle, you're just like, oh, it's just Newcastle, whatever.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not feeling confident on the weekend.
If you beat them, I think they're in serious trouble. And I think if you look at Fulham must be sitting there going, how have we not caught up with this team? Because every time they get close to, getting that gap, they'll lose a silly game. And
oh no, that was awful. Villa were terrible that game. I don't know how they lost it.
I
It was like all of a sudden Villa were like, oh, we do know how to play football. Well done, everyone. We know, we remembered.
And I think if Newcastle they've gone down twice, but they've gone down with. I think when you look at the Newcastle teams that have gone down the past, they've gone down with a team that you go, yeah, they were rubbish last year, but they'll win the league, the championship, they'll be up. I think if they go down now, I genuinely don't think they go straight back up. I really don't. And I know
I think the championship's a different kettle of fish now. Back in the day, Newcastle could just go down, pick out the best players from the championship, like Villa did, West Ham did, sign them up, and they'll be Premier League ready by the time. But there's so many competitive teams in the championship now. Players are less likely to leave. And it's either I'm going to the Premier League now, or I'm going to try and go to the Premier League with my current club.
Mm. And you know this is better than we all know this. Your love is your football club, and it is these. I do feel sorry for the Newcastle fans because my love is Chelsea. I'll always love Chelsea. You spend the whole week, you spend your whole life, checking up your team's injuries, watching the players. They become a part of you. Your weekend is made better or worse if your team win the game, and they're just going along to every game, just almost going, yeah, whatever. We'll see if we turn up. And it's not even like we might scrape it. It's just I just look at Newcastle and I just see nothing. I just see nothing from them, and that's got to be the most. When you're following your team and you're almost going, I just find my own team so boring at the moment. We're just not doing anything. We're going into a season going, yeah, okay, here we go again. Do you know what I mean? And I think almost what needs to happen is they need to either go down and literally, as you said, just rip it up completely, have a few years of pain and then build back up. But it's not going to happen until Ashley goes, is it?
No, of course not. Well, while we're talking about pain, there's one more thing I did want to talk about in the pain department, and it's a good friend of ours. He's not a good friend. I'm glad he isn't. AD bloody Boothroyd. Oh my! I wasted 3 days, 90 minutes worth of my life watching some of the best youngsters in the world pass it to Oliver Skip. How that guy, AD Boothroyd, has got a job with the best. He got a really average Watford team into the Premier League, done a brilliant job, right? Fantastic. That was it, right? He ended up getting sacked. A couple of years later, 7-8 years later, goes to Northampton. Hardly lasts a year, gets sacked. You know what, AD? You know what you deserve, mate? The England under-21s job. You're taking over from current England manager Gareth Southgate. Oh, beautiful. You've got the best, like the team that's just won the under-17s World Cup. AD, you literally just have to sit there, mate, and put them on a pitch. Don't tell them to do anything. They know what to do.
And you draw 0-0.
No, we've got to play AD Boothroyd style of football. Oh my God. If I was ever a dinosaur in football, I'm surprised his arms haven't shrunk and he's standing like a T-Rex. It was awful.
He's still in the job.
He got the okay. We went through the whole of the last under-21s championship, not winning a game. And okay, fine. I take it that Romania team had lots of really good youngsters. A lot of them in the championship now. But we should be beating them with the players we've got. We didn't win one game. Kept his job. Fine, fair enough. We go again. We've got even more players coming through. Like that, we must have had. Okay, I'm not going to get into that bit yet. We go and play in these qualifiers. We play Andorra. Do you ever worry about playing Andorra? No, because it's Andorra. Okay, granted, yes, Andorra's under-21s aren't horrific, but they're still fucking horrific. Like they obviously are better, but they're not winning games. It's not like they're going out and beating San Marino or anything. They're drawing 0-0 with them, and we draw 3-3 with San Marino. I don't think they've not San Marino. Sorry, Andorra under-21s. I don't think and. I made jokes ages ago that I have really weird Twitter conversations with the former captain of Andorra.
You do.
And I don't think even if I asked him, I don't think he would admit it that Andorra under-21s have ever scored 3 goals in their life. But no, AD Boothroyd comes along and they're like, oh, well, we're playing in front of football royalty now. We need to up our game for the old King AD. And then come these European championships. And I was so looking forward to them. Because I was like, well, it's in the middle of the season. And then they play again in a couple of weeks' time. Oh, buzzing. See Dwight McNeil play. See these players I really like. Like we have so many good youngsters. We have so many good youngsters playing first-team football.
Yeah.
In top leagues. Doesn't matter if it's Belgium, France, Germany, England. And if they're not playing in any of those leagues, they're playing in the Championship or Scotland.
Like Josh De Silva, he's one of the most promising players.
But... Sorry, I'm started. I've interrupted you. But we turn up against Switzerland, who have old Jankovic from Southampton, who just can't keep his head on his shoulders, and is one of the most angry players I've ever seen. And they have that Alzate, I think it is, from Brighton, who it looks like he could be all right, but he's not shown me anything on the pitch yet. And they tore us apart. They were so much better than us. And we have Callum Hudson-Odoi, who I've been really, I was his biggest critic a couple of years ago, but I've been megally impressed by him. We had Dwight McNeil playing at wing back. I don't think he's ever seen that part of the pitch before. Oliver Skipp, who was the vice captain, and do you know one thing? We didn't win any of these games, and then in the third game, he goes, "Oh, and now coming on is Todd Cantwell." I was like, "It's the 68th minute of the last game, and Todd Cantwell's coming on. He should be the number one of the first players on the pitch." And then they told me, no, not me personally, but told the audience, I don't want to say audience, but the England fans, the massive, that he wasn't even in the original lineup. He was replacing Mason Greenwood.
Oh, God.
Who pulled out the squad. How? Todd Cantwell, who was wanted by so many big teams last year, how does he not get put in that under 20? Who almost got an England call-up last year? He should have got an England call-up last year. I'm done now. It was appalling. It was awful. I'm not done. I'm starting again.
That's someone who's played really well this year, and
he was awful, mate. I don't think he was awful. I don't think, but the scenario he was in was terrible. What line of work does Dwight McNeil start as a fullback, wing back?
Well, exactly.
Why? And there's this whole thing that Emil Smith-Rowe was meant to be playing in the middle, where he belongs, but he spent the whole game on the left because Dwight McNeil couldn't get there because he was defending old Alzate. Oh, and then we go 1-2. Sorry, we go 2-0 up. Dwight McNeil sets up Curtis Jones, who scored a brilliant goal, and I thought, Christ, we actually played some good football there. Oh, off comes Dwight McNeil. Off comes whoever the other player was. On comes some useless fuck. I can't think who it was now, and I thought, oh. Cool. Well, we're going to lose now. We didn't lose, but we got knocked out.
Oh, exactly, because we couldn't score more than 3. It's ridiculous.
But we can't. And it annoyed me. We couldn't even defend.
The problem is that AD Boothroyd is just a yes man, isn't he? And he's got no.
Are you rubbish, AD? Yes.
That's the thing, though. It's just these are competitions that we've been winning for ages because we've had such good youngsters. And AD Boothroyd's coming, and he's just. I mean, I've seen. I don't know. I've seen AVB have better tactical awareness than AD Boothroyd, and it's it's just that scary thing that they're just going here or whatever until the main team's the main priority at the moment. Yeah, you Eddie Boothroyd, you come and do it because you're not going to challenge us. And do you know what the thing is as well? Is that you made a good point. Instead of, Phil Foden and all these players, playing against San Marino and games that we could win easily, why don't we put them in the under-21s?
Do you know what annoyed me the most? I thought that, but then I thought, you look at this team we've got that we sent to the under-21s. No under-21 team, I don't think has ever had as much first-team player squad depth that we had. I don't think, and he put. So I don't know if you know that. I don't know how to say his name properly, but that Noni Mandueke or Mandueke, whatever his name is, the one who plays for PSV.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only one in that first game who looked like he could cause some trouble when he came on. He didn't play another minute. No, sorry, it wasn't. It was against Portugal. He was on. He didn't play any minutes other than that. Well, and he's the one. He's played every game this season for PSV. He scored 7 goals and got 8 assists.
Okay,
why is he not playing?
I'll read out a list for you, Ollie, of players that have played top-level Premier League football. Aaron Ramsdale, Max Aarons, Ben Godfrey, Lloyd Kelly, Ryan Sessegnon, Japhet Tanganga, Todd Cantwell, Tom Davis, the Eze.
He was, okay, sorry, quickly. Tom Davis, that was who they bought on. I was trying to think of it. He was awful. He was the worst player.
I said to you a couple of weeks ago he was overrated.
He was so bad, mate, honestly.
Curtis Jones, Dwight McNeil, Oliver Skipp, Ryan Brewster, Mason Greenwood, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Eddie Nketiah, Emil Smith-Rowe. All these players that have played first-team football. It's ridiculous. We can't even beat...
You are telling me that Ryan Brewster, £25 million, who has not scored a goal all season, is getting called up over Todd Cantwell,
it's ridiculous.
Who's been brilliant for Norwich.
You can't believe it, can you? You literally cannot.
And he didn't start. Okay, how many times have we said, especially when Sean was on, we said, Christ, Curtis Jones looks like a real player. Why is he not getting in the England team? He didn't even start for the under-21s. A starter for Liverpool is not starting for the England under-21s. He should be starting for England. Well, in the England squad.
Why is Ryan Brewster... it's just someone who's came into my head. Why is Ryan Brewster in that squad when he hasn't scored a goal all season? And that Musiala's German now, isn't he? Scrap that.
Why are we not calling up some youngster from the Championship or something? I don't know who. I can't tell you anyone. Or there's someone that with this Reading have got to see all their players seem about 17. They must have someone. Oh, I don't know, Dave. It was some of the worst football I've seen in England shirts ever. And
who would you like to get?
This is probably one of the best teams ever.
Who would you like to get that job next? Who would
an air guitar could do better than AD Boothroyd. I don't know. I want someone young, preferably someone who's out of a job, just because I don't want anyone to lose their club manager. It either goes two ways. You get someone who's experienced and is going to do a good job with them, or you get someone who's young who's going to use England as a stepping stone. I don't know. I don't know who I'd get in. Anyone could have done a better job. How he's still got a job? It's like he's got Greg Clark's nudes or something on his phone. I don't know. He's like, oh, AD, mate, you drew 3-3 with Andorra, but go on, have a pay rise. He's not doing bad at his job. He's doing horrifically. He's not doing his job at all. And if his job is just to call up players who are under 21, then he's not even doing that very well. I have no... Who would you get in? I have no idea. I would love to see Chris Wilder, because I think we'd win the Euros every 2 years, whenever it is.
Yeah, Chris Wilder wouldn't be a bad shit.
I don't think he would go, though. I don't think he would take it.
I think, to be honest, when you're...
Probably bloody Jonathan Woodgate. I bet you anything it's Jonathan bloody Woodgate.
It will be Jonathan, and then he'll be in England.
It's the Middlesbrough complex.
He's gonna be.
Oh, that's the keep AD Boothroyd. I love him all of a sudden. I bet Zola. Every time I feel like we're out of this thing thinking Zola's a good manager, he always ends up getting another job, and he does rubbish. And I was watching like some Championship season review when he was at Birmingham, and I just thought, Christ, he was an awful manager. He's still a great player, terrible manager.
I wouldn't mind. What about Joey Barton, Ollie?
Oh, fucking love Joey. Yes, bring in the Barton. Why? Do you know what? I would love to see some. Okay, I'm not trying to. You just remind me of someone random, but someone who's not really been in that England spotlight, like someone who's done really well at club level in League One or Two, like John McGrill or John Colburn. Oh my God, John Colburn. He would do absolute wonders. I know he would never leave Aki Stanley, but he would do wonders because he knows what it's like to bring up these youngsters.
I've got one who I'd really like to see in charge. This actually, now I've thought about it, this is the guy I'd actually like to have the job. What about Daniel Cowley?
No.
No?
Oh, he's poor at Huddersfield.
Well, that's Huddersfield, though, isn't it? I think he's all right. I think he'd do all right at under 21.
I don't know. I'm not too sure about
John Terry.
He's just taken over Portsmouth anyway.
John Terry.
Oh God, not John Terry. No, thank you. Oh, he's just waiting to kick out Dean Smith when he can. I have no idea. Get Peter Crouch involved. Get him as the under 21.
Get Crouch here for it.
They wouldn't mess with him.
They wouldn't. They love Peter Crouchy. Oh,
I was just trying to think of someone. Maybe someone who wants to come into management. Maybe not. I don't know. Let's hire Matt Derbyshire at this point. He played for the under-21s. He still plays. He scored a hat-trick for MacArthur Bears or whatever they're called in Australia. I couldn't believe it.
Would you get Alan Kirbishley, Ollie?
Oh, I've never even supported Charlton. I've got no links to Charlton. I just love Alan Kirby. He's such a nice man. He is who I would love to bring a cup of tea for, because I feel like he would tell me a nice story while I'm bringing him his tea. He'd tell me a funny story about Harry Redknapp.
I love Harry Redknapp.
Do you know who I think it's going to be? And it makes me really sad. Alan Pardew.
No, I don't think Pardew.
No, I think it's going to... Well, whoever thought it was going to be Adi Boothroyd? Maybe it would be Billy Davis or something. Maybe we're just digging up managers from the Championship in 2009. Oh, bloody... Do you know what? In that case, bloody Zola's going to be signed up.
Yeah. What about Kevin Nolan?
Oh, I love watching... No, but I love watching Kevin Nolan get really angry on the West Ham bench.
What about Kevin Nolan? That's not a bad shout. Kevin Nolan's got a steady head on his shoulders.
How about... Okay, hear me out. All right. Best manager the Premier League's ever seen. Best manager the Championship's ever seen. Steve Keane.
No.
Oh, he's the best manager. He did the unthinkable.
He got Flatford relegated.
Can I just say, we're talking about like old Championship managers from like 2009, 8, whatever, and Premier League. Would you say, okay, maybe this was a couple of years later in 2012, when Wigan's done that unbelievable escape, right? The Great Escape 2.0, where they beat Liverpool, beat Chelsea, didn't they? Beat Arsenal, drew with Man United. Oh no, drew with Liverpool, beat Man United. Oh, whatever. Done the amazingly, stayed up, relegated Blackburn, unbelievable. And imagine telling you, in 2021, their manager would now be the manager of the number one nation in the world. That's like last year saying Chris Wilder's going to go manage Brazil.
That is crazy when you think about it. That is meant.
How many times has something like this happened in football where you're like, how's he ended out there?
He's such an overrated manager. Oh my!
Sorry, I'm talking so much about these random manager appointments. Do you know who Lee Clark is manager of at the moment?
No.
He's manager. You will never guess this if you don't know it.
Billericay.
Mate, you're not even close. Mate, your jaw is going to be dropped. So former Newcastle player, former Birmingham manager, former, Blythe Spartans manager. He is now manager, and he told a great story on the football show the other day. Manager of the second biggest team in Sudan. They don't. Apparently, they can. Apparently, they can all speak English, but they don't understand what he says because he's got such a Geordie accent. But he was saying. So in the African Champions League, they went to play their first away game in the group stages, and I think it was Tanzania they went to, and apparently they pulled up. They all had to have their COVID tests, and apparently their top 8 highest earners all suddenly tested positive for COVID for the first time. So they had to play all these like 19, 17, 18-year-olds in this Champions League game. And they all got back to Sudan, and they all tested negative for COVID.
Oh, no.
That is shithousery at the finest from Tanzania. I was so shocked because at first I was like, I recognise this man, but I can't think who it is. And then he was like, oh, he's managing in Sudan. And I Googled it. It was like Lee Clark. Imagine Sean Dyche just turning up in the Egyptian Premier League.
Al-Ali.
All right, Trezeguet. Or bloody like, imagine Owen Coyle turning up in the Iranian second division. Well, he manages in India. He manages India at the moment.
Who?
Owen Coyle.
He manages in India.
Well, yeah, because like Venky's love him, don't they? Venky's chicken. If everyone knows, Venky's own Blackburn.
Well, there you go. Oh dear.
It's all come full circle, mate. The one thing I was going to say before all this, and it is still international themed, was I was watching because the A-League they got full fans back and everything, and it's absolutely lovely to watch. I mean, the football's a bit questionable. I kid you not, it's like watching the Championship from 2014.
Really?
Matt Derbyshire, Jacob Butterfield, Craig Noon. Oh, there's so many men. And then bloody Kenny Miller on someone's assistant manager.
I thought you were going to say you turned up playing. I was like, blimey.
He probably does. He probably did. He's probably like 54 and still like got a twig body.
I loved Kenny Miller. I really did like Kenny Miller.
He must be the only person to play for Celtic, sign for Rangers, sign for Celtic again, then sign back for Rangers.
And still be loved.
Well, I don't think Celtic fans would say that.
No, I don't think they would actually thinking about it. Ollie, I know you love the Champions League. Last night, yes. I think all these ties, maybe the Chelsea game you could have said, I think everyone favoured Chelsea maybe to be ahead in that tie at the moment. But Real Madrid, Liverpool, that was sort of a spin of a dice tie who was going to come up on top. I think everyone thought Bayern Munich would take PSG, and Borussia Dortmund are pushing Man City a lot closer than I think everyone expected them to be.
There was definitely no dodgy decisions in that game.
That was that referee. That's the worst. I didn't watch the game really because I was watching Real Madrid Liverpool, but I watched the highlights. That was one of the worst refereeing displays I've ever seen.
Not only that, anyone who watched the game, he was poor all the way through. Like it wasn't those like isolated incidents. He was so bad.
Jude Bellingham, I can't believe how that was given as a high foot. That's ridiculous. But then they were
panicking, so they thought, oh, we'll just give it as a high foot because they knew they were wrong.
It's just trying to favour the big clubs, isn't it? But who's going to win it?
I don't know. I weirdly had a feeling Liverpool might just pull it out of nowhere. That's not going to happen. But you never know. 4-1 in the Champions League means nothing anymore.
No.
It depends on every year I just think there's one standout team, and then as soon as I say it, they get knocked out. I don't know why, but I want to see either Man City or PSG win it. Just someone new, I think. Do you know what I mean? I have a feeling it's still going to be Bayern Munich. I feel like they're going to be so up for this game. Is it next week or the week after?
Next week.
And I think, I don't know. PSG, they didn't play great. Like they did well. They played well, but Bayern Munich should have put some more goals away. So I think just with a bit more composure,
I think
they'll probably nick it.
I think that Dortmund tie has got Man City Champions League banana skin written all over it. They've kept themselves in that tie. I can see and Haaland. That's Haaland's shop window. That game, isn't it? That's Haaland putting himself right in the shop window.
Well, he needs to get. He hadn't scored in like 390 minutes now.
I know. Cool. Overrated.
They should sell him to someone rubbish like Burnley.
But it.
Him and Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes.
Erling. Oh.
It'll be Dave Haaland from there on.
But Man City, they always bottle it against a team they shouldn't bottle in the Champions League. Lyon last year, Tottenham the year before. It's just got a banana skin written all over it. Even when you think back to Guardiola and his Barcelona, I know he won it with Barcelona, but when you think back to the 2012 when against Chelsea, there's no way that we should have been beating that Barcelona team then. And he bottled it in that game.
Yeah.
I can say that. And I think that result, the away goal for Dortmund, I think that's got a real banana skin written all over it. And Haaland's not going out this Champions League with Dortmund without a say at least. And that would be my worry on City. I can see it. I'm going to go with my heart. I can see Chelsea, PSG. And I think in that game, Tuchel, Pochettino, two managers that you could see will really want it for obvious reasons. You got Tuchel from the PSG, Pochettino against Chelsea, Tottenham, Chelsea, losing out on it. I think it was PSG-Chelsea. I think that's a really open Champions League tie and any team could turn up and win it.
Well, PSG need to win it almost because Lille don't look like they're going to stop. And they've now gone 3 points clear of Ligue 1 after beating them, after beating PSG away. So he's going to be under. I know he's only been there a little while, but he's going to be under some real pressure, Poch, if he doesn't win one of these trophies.
No, I'd agree.
I'm sure the bare minimum was win the Ligue 1, do well in the Champions League. But next season, surely his task is here's another 100 million, Poch. Fuck the league. Like we'll probably win it with our second team, but turns out they're not going to even probably win it this year. Go and win the Champions League. So if he wins it a year in advance, then bloody good news. What do PSG do after that? Do you know what I mean? Like, where do you go? Like,
well, not really much you can go really. They just win it.
Like, I know. I suppose like until they win it and then win. I suppose the next one's win it and then defend it, isn't it?
Well, yeah, you'd say that. I think
that's mental. That's mental. There's teams that have won it like once, and then there's some teams that go. Oh, but this team hasn't even won it, and we're saying that they need to win it and then defend it.
Yeah, well, exactly. But that's the stature the club's got to be. I think PSG, Chelsea, and if you want me to be brutally honest, I think PSG might just pip it. I'm going to go PSG.
I still think you've got that banana skin because Porto only need the 2 goals.
But if we score, then they need 3. And Tuchel's. I know we had the West Brom game, and everyone could say that.
Well, Barcelona saying that on their Twitter about Liverpool. If we score 1, they need.
True. Yeah. You got a very good point, but I can see us. I can't. I think we'll.
Be careful with your predictions on this
podcast.
Okay,
I'm keeping quiet. I generally do think we've got a good chance of winning it, though. I do. Okay.
Oh, you're going to be kicking yourself in a couple of weeks.
No, I will be. I will be kicking myself. But no, you've got to be hopeful. I think we've got a huge chance of. I think we're definitely. I'm not just saying this because I'm a Chelsea fan, but we're definitely in the running for it. We are definitely in the running for it because you looked at Real Madrid. I know a lot of people like Real Madrid look really good against Liverpool. They looked all right. I don't think they looked anything.
Well, Nat Phillips decided to play the other end of the pitch the whole game.
I don't think Real Madrid look. I don't know what you think. I don't think Real Madrid looked particularly incredible.
They haven't done all season.
I think Liverpool just made 2 really bad defensive mistakes and didn't look bothered in the first half.
Real Madrid were fine. Liverpool were awful.
Yeah, that's the thing. And Liverpool, they came out second half and had a little bit of fire about them, but that first half, you think the 3 goals Real Madrid scored, 2 of them were mistakes, and Liverpool just really flat in the first half. Just didn't look like but then Klopp at them. It's just so of Klopp this season coming out and going, "Oh, it was played at a training ground."
Well, I mean, they played there all bloody season.
He has just been the king of excuses, isn't he, this year, Klopp? He really has.
He's had a year of it, and he's probably had one of the hardest years any manager's ever had out of the top 6 teams.
Well, yeah, you would say.
But
that.
again, you can only go with it's no one else's fault, is it?
Exactly. I'm going to put my hat out and go. I think we've got a really good chance, but I think PSG. I think Poch wants this.
Oh, I suppose we will see.
We will definitely see. Buzzing. Come on, Chelsea.
And I think, who do you think's going to win quickly? Who do you think's going to win the Europa League?
Arsenal.
Every team you said so far has been knocked out.
Arsenal. I hate saying it, but
I think it's going to be Man United because I've just shat on them for the last.
Arsenal. They're just that annoying team at the moment. I think tonight's tie yesterday's tie against Slavia Prague. I think that's a lot harder than people. They're going to win 7-0 now. I think that's a lot harder than. I think they've knocked out a good Rangers team and a good Leicester team.
They didn't even knock out They didn't even just knock them out. They were brilliant. And I mean, just forget. We're not going to talk about because we're just going to disassociate this knobhead who plays for Slavia Prague. He's obvious bell end. Don't condone any of it. Awful what he done. Yeah, exactly. But Slavia Prague, you can't blame all the players for the one person.
No, exactly.
But yeah, they look a real team, and I think unfortunately for Slavia fans, good one, the ones who aren't putting racist messages online, they're just going to be picked apart, aren't they? They've found some really good players there.
Yeah, well, that's where Souček and that came from.
Yeah, and they've got 2 players who've got similar names, and they're both really good. But they're one up front. Christ, he looks like he's going to be a really good player.
Yeah, he's quick. Is it
Zico? Zico?
I can't remember his name now.
Oh, I know. It's probably something like John.
Hello, I'm John from Slavia Prague.
Oh my God, is he here? Oh.
Yeah, regrettably, I think they're just being irritating at the moment. Their performances, Arsenal, they seem to play really. I'm not going to get into this, but they just seem to play. Every time I say, "Oh, they're playing really well at the moment," they put in a really terrible performance, and then when I'm like, "Oh, they're rubbish," they go and win a really good game. So, yeah, they're just that irritating team. I think Arsenal. Sadly, I don't want them to win it. I would hate it if they won it, but I think.
It's amazing. I normally want the English teams to do really well in Europe, but I don't want any of the English teams to win it in the Europa League.
You know who I'd like to see win it? I'd like to see Ajax win it because I think they've had a really tough time lately with all their best players been picked off. I'd like to see Ajax do it.
And they got Stecklenburg in goal now. It's a great time to be alive.
I would have loved them to have won that Champions League they were in it that year, but I think they've had a harsh time. They're a really good team and they've all been picked off. I'd like to see Ajax win it.
They got some really, really good youngsters coming through. That Anthony, fuck me, he looks quality.
He looks really good. I'd like to see Ajax win it.
Well, when AC Milan wins the Europa League but who didn't we name in the and Liverpool go and win the Champions League? We'll look like idiots, as always, because we've been wrong pretty much every time.
Honestly, that quote that Sean clipped of me, with the day after they went out, with Mourinho in charge, you are favourites for that competition, and they're out.
Only us.
Only us. Well, it's been really good. We've got guests coming back on next week, though, guys. Don't fret. It's not just going to be us 2 again.
Boo! I don't know how to react to that one.
Although good news, we've got Sean coming back on next week.
Boo! Oh, he'll appreciate the boo. It's fine.
Firmino, Ballon d'Or.
Oh yeah, everyone, don't listen to next week. It's going to be the Firmino show. I'm joking. Please listen.